Well, let's get more on this from Soraya Lennie. She joins us live from Gaziantep. Soraya, Russia continues to carry out strikes in Syria. What happened overnight?
Well, the Russians have a capability of around 50 airstrikes a day. That's what their leadership is saying. And as we heard overnight, they've carried out those airstrikes, different parts of the country being targeted, including Damascus and Latakia and also Hama. Now, speaking of Hama and places in that area, the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, it's an activist group mostly based outside of the country, has been monitoring what the Russians have been up to in Syria and say it's possible that the Russian airstrikes actually took out around 40 ISIS fighters. These airstrikes hit a convoy coming from the so-called stronghold of ISIS in Raqqa. Now, they believe there are around 16 cars in that convoy that were targeted, but there's no clarification or certainty whether or not the Russians carried out that particular strike or it was the Syrian government or the United States.
And how will the latest developments in Syria impact the refugee crisis?
Well, let's keep in mind there are already around 4 million Syrians who have been forced to leave their homeland because of all of this fighting over the last 4.5–5 years, 2 million of which are now in Turkey. Now, we saw that meeting, of course, with Angela Merkel, the Chancellor of Germany, here in Turkey as well, discussing that crisis and the need to do more to help these refugees and also to stem the flow heading further into Europe. Now, it's believed by some, of course, critics of the Russians, including Turkey, that their intervention could in fact make this situation worse. On the other side, some say it could actually help level the playing field and provide a bit more stability in some of those war-torn areas. We also know, of course, in Europe that Hungary has now closed its border with Croatia, creating a bottleneck in that country, of course, when it comes to the Syrian refugees who are trying to head further into Europe to richer countries like Austria and Germany.
Okay, Soraya Lennie in Gaziantep, thank you.